Yesterday, Caitlin Clark, a rising star in the WNBA, had a stalker arrested. The man allegedly made disturbing and threatening comments toward her, which were serious enough to prompt an arrest in Indianapolis. His bond was set at $55,000. He had said some truly vile things to Caitlin, which led to his arrest. This whole situation made a lot of people think about the supposed harassment incidents from the Chicago Sky team last year. You may remember the incident where players claimed they were harassed after getting off a bus. But when video surfaced, it raised questions about whether it was really harassment at all. This brings us to the WNBA's pattern of playing the victim card, something the media also tends to support. One example of this is Jemele, a former ESPN reporter who has become notorious for her controversial, often divisive views. She now works with Dan Le Batard's podcast network, which is known for its woke and liberal leanings. Hill made some pretty harsh comments about Caitlin Clark, suggesting that she wasn't dealing with any hate. But after Caitlin's stalker incident, it's clear that wasn't the case. Hill had posted these comments on social media, but after things blew up, she tried to erase them. Unfortunately for her, once something's online, it's almost impossible to fully erase it. People noticed, and now Hill is getting a lot of backlash for her remarks. Here's the latest from Fox News, where they're covering the details of the situation. It's clear that Jemele Hill's comments have backfired, and she's facing heavy criticism now. The news has shaken a lot of people, especially since it highlights the way media and certain figures have been handling athletes like Caitlin Clark. The details of the alleged stalking are disturbing. As Outkick reported on Monday, the Marin County Prosecutor's Office claims the man sent Caitlin Clark, a star for the Indiana Fever, numerous threatening and sexually explicit messages on social media. Eventually, he traveled to Indianapolis to physically try to contact her. This man sent hundreds of messages, becoming more and more aggressive, which caused Caitlin to fear for her safety. Now, where does Jemele Hill fit into all of this? In September, Hill posted a lengthy message on X, formerly Twitter, suggesting that Caitlin Clark doesn't face the same level of hate that black women in the WNBA supposedly face. Hill claimed that Clark hadn't experienced the same kind of hate, but that's simply not true. No other WNBA player has had a man arrested for making threats out of concern for their safety, except for Caitlin Clark. A few Chicago Sky players, like Angel McCautry, had claimed that they were harassed by a man who allegedly used racial slurs during an incident in June. However, there is no concrete evidence to support those claims. In fact, videos from the incident emerged, and they didn't show any racial slurs or any threatening behavior at all. It turned into a situation that seemed more like a false alarm. The players, who claimed they wanted fans in the league, appeared to play the victim role when the video didn't back up their claims. When the video came out, it raised doubts, and the whole thing seemed to fall apart. The real harassment Caitlin Clark faced wasn't just from some random fan. This was a serious and dangerous situation with someone actually getting arrested. This man took things to the extreme, and who knows how many other people might have been harassing her online. But Caitlin doesn't make a big deal out of it like other players do. She doesn't constantly complain about hate or make it a media spectacle. In contrast, many of her WNBA colleagues often talk about the hate they receive, but Caitlin Clark never comes out publicly with complaints. She keeps focused on her game. As for Jemele Hill, instead of issuing a public apology or acknowledging she was wrong, she quietly tried to delete her post about Caitlin Clark. Of course, the internet remembers everything. She had said, "I don't like to play the oppression Olympics," but that statement is clearly a contradiction, especially coming from someone who frequently stirs up race-related issues. Despite all the drama, Caitlin Clark has never had to delete her social media accounts like some of her teammates, such as Aaliyah Boston. And even though Clark has been known to talk trash on the court and clash with refs, she's often villainized when she's on the receiving end of physical play or trash talk from opposing players. She doesn't get the same kind of support other players seem to get when they face similar challenges. Caitlin Clark doesn't get told to toughen up or have her feelings dismissed. She isn't subjected to biased perspectives, nor does anyone try to justify hate against her. That's the key difference. People who try to use her for racial attacks or villainize her based on the actions of others are two sides of the same coin. Despite receiving as much or possibly more hate than any other player, Caitlin Clark is the one expected to address it and fix the situation. Now about Jemele Hill, she initially posted some harmful comments about Caitlin, but when things blew up, she quietly deleted the post, hoping no one would notice. Unfortunately for her, the internet has a long memory. People are calling her out for her silence, especially in light of the disturbing incident where a man was arrested for stalking and threatening Caitlin Clark. Jemele Hill has yet to make any public statements in response, and it's causing quite a stir. People are demanding she say something, anything about the situation, but it seems like she's trying to ignore it. This whole thing has backfired on her, and she's facing serious backlash. And the question many are asking, what qualifies Jemele Hill to make such comment? She doesn't direct the same type of hate toward other WNBA players, and the coverage of this situation shows just how much she's out of touch with reality. This isn't some fake story that people will forget about. Jemele Hill really said these things, and now she's too ashamed to own up to them. Her attempts to delete the post and erase the damage only make her look more ridiculous. She's not being accountable for her action, and it's embarrassing to watch. People are calling her out, questioning why she's so quiet now. The fact is, Jemele Hill has shown herself to be someone who loves stirring up controversy, but lacks the maturity to stand by her word. As for Caitlin Clark, her situation seems to be largely ignored by mainstream media. The players who constantly play the victim card, pretending to face hate or harassment, don't get the same kind of scrutiny. But Caitlin Clark, the player who truly faced real danger, is still the one expected to speak out and fix the narrative. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes tension in the WNBA, and it's clear that some players, including Jemele Hill, can't stand Caitlin Clark's success. While some of them publicly smile and cheer, we know the truth, they're not happy to see her rise. It's a sad reality where players and figures who should be supporting one another are secretly hoping for their downfall. Caitlin Clark's situation in the WNBA is troubling, and it certainly raised a lot of questions. It's strange that many in the league, including players who often have the platform to speak out, are remaining silent about something so serious. Why the quiet? It's curious, especially when these players are usually outspoken about everything else, whether it's making statements or sharing videos. The events surrounding Caitlin Clark were dangerous, and the response or lack of response from the league is baffling. Right now, the WNBA and its players, especially those in positions of power, are staying as silent as church mice. It's odd because, normally, we see them quick to voice their opinions on just about everything, from personal issues to public matters. What do you think about this? Leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe for more. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check back next time.